Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome
to the KnitChat Café.
Yes. Yeah. We have to put our names up.
I'm working on that.
Okay. Anyway, hi, everybody. It's
March
Tuesday
1st.
evening, March 1st. Yeah, we're coming to you from Southwestern Ontario. I was just thinking earlier when I was first setting up for this, like before you know it, it's going to be light outside when we're doing this.
It's almost light now.
I know. Like it's dark right now, but about like 20 minutes ago, it was still.
I know.
So I was talking to, I asked Ross today when the time changes. So the time changes March 13th, and then it's really going to be light.
Right.
So.
But that's okay. That's good. That's all good.
Yes. Anyways, we're a knitting podcast, not a
weather network,
not a time zone podcast. But anyways, we've got a lot of people in here already. First of all, I guess we should say who we are. I'm Noelle.
And I'm Kelly. I'm Noelle's friend, Kelly.
Yes. And we are Knits and Pieces. And this is our informal get together in our KnitChat Cafe that we do every Tuesday. So we always bring knitting. We don't always talk specifically about knitting for the full chat, but we do get some knitting talk in there. So I'm going to go through and just say hi to everybody that's here. Barb, you were here early. Hi. And Beth said she's got this. She said her power's on, the internet's working, she has knitting. Long may it last.
Yay, Beth.
We say that every week, Beth.
Right.
So hi to Trudy and Sharon and Sarah. Sarah said she was actually early tonight. We've got Rebecca and Elaine, Teresa, Janie, Sue, Susie, Nicole, Michelle, Laura, Linda, Kim, Leah, Patricia, Julia, Bobby. Let's see here. We've got quite a few Lauras in here tonight. We've got Deborah, Mary, Monica, Joan, another Sarah, Marianne. I wish we could meet everybody in person and put like names and faces together.
I know.
So
hopefully soon.
Maybe someday.
Hopefully
maybe someday.
Travel around and meet some people.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So we've got Maureen, Margot, Lynn, Sheila, Majo, and I'm sure I've missed people. Lynn, Jan, Stacy, Patricia, Janet, Sharon, Elaine. Anyway, welcome everybody.
Welcome everybody.
If you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is not our regular podcast. This is just our Knit Chat. Our regular podcast, we just had one up this past weekend. And in the regular podcast, we kind of go through all the things that we're making in a little bit more detail than what we do here. So, Okay. So we've got Natalie's here too. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
So
we might want to mention that this last podcast that we put up this past weekend, it only took us 3 attempts. That first segment, we recorded it 3 times. So I hope it didn't sound stale, because I'm not going to lie, it felt stale.
It did. When I watched it, I thought, oh yeah, I remember saying that 3 times.
Yeah, I said that 3 times, but it did make for some good blooper reels.
It did.
So it was all software related.
Because when we do it, like we've got like a bare minimum of notes down, right? So we're talking to each other about the things for the first time. So,
absolutely.
When you do that, it's different when you have to go back and then you think, did I say that? Did I not say that? Haven't I said this already?
Kathy is watching us on a 55-inch TV tonight. Please, Kathy, turn that. That is way too big.
I hope she has her focus turned down. Anyway.
We look better on tiny devices.
I can't even go back in and watch this after.
What, the lives?
I can't.
I know.
No, I can't. I can't. So
Um,
anyway, so Kelly, why don't you tell us about the sweater you're wearing?
okay, so this is not the first time wearing. I've worn this sweater lots, but it's when you have a favorite sweater. When you,
That's
I
right.
have two. I have two. I have my Love Note, and then I have this, which is the Garden Gate by Jennifer Steingass. And I'm not going to lie, it's one of my favorite sweaters.
Yeah,
I love the sweater. This is a single from Stitch Mischief. I can't remember the color, but I don't think it's in her shop anymore. But I love this. It's a gray base with little speckles of orange and navy. That's not common. That was hard to find.
No.
And it perfectly matched with this navy that I picked up when I was traveling in Arizona. So
when we could travel.
But hey, that is coming back. And
yes, it is.
It's I'm laughing now at the comment. Julia saying 55 inches. Noelle, that's the tallest you've ever been.
Come on. I'm a little taller than that.
50 inches maybe.
When we do the podcast at Kelly's place, I always have this. I have to sit on a cushion that's this high.
I have a special cushion just for Noelle, a little booster seat. Yes.
So I sometimes always feel like I'm going like this and I'm going to fall off the cushion.
Goodness.
Anyway,
but
okay. Yes, Kelly, your sweater is beautiful.
The sweater. Thank you. I love the sweater. I wear it a lot. It's a little bit cropped, like it's, I don't know, it's just below my waist. And, but it's just so cozy, and it's not overly hot because I love this kind of a neckline. And it's got that little rolled neckline. And then I did, my 3/4 sleeves again. I don't know if I do. I've knit sweaters that are full length, but this is my go-to, right? Mm-hmm. So, and what are you wearing?
I'm going to stand up. So I might be taller than 55 inches.
You can dream. Anyways, one can dream.
There you go. This is the Western Rose by Tia Coleman, who is Baby Cocktails. And this is done in Estelle natural worsted llama. So I think it's 80% wool, 20% llama. And then the color down here is Cedarbrook Farms, their DK Pearl Blend. Somehow or other, they infuse like pearl fiber into it, and it just gives the yarn just a little bit of a glow. It's not like a glow in the dark or anything, but it just has a little bit of sheen to it.
Like a pearlescent, yes.
Yes, yeah. So this yarn I got at Rhinebeck when we could travel back in 2018. And this sweater is mosaic.
I love it. I don't think I've ever seen you wear it.
I haven't worn it that much because we don't have the fireplace or anything on today, so it's not bad with the turtleneck on. Mm-hmm. And I did go to Little Red Mitten today, and it was nice enough today that I threw my coat in the car just in case. Mm-hmm. But basically, I just had my sweater on, and I was fine. So this is a turtleneck on the sweater. I love this yarn. I love it.
It's really nice.
I would like to get some more of it. It comes in only natural colors. But I would definitely use this again. I really like
the detail on the sleeves. Can you show the cuff up close?
Yeah,
this nice little, a little extra something.
And it's not anything difficult. It's just a couple of pearl rows, and then she's got that again. I don't want to pull this up too far, but she's got that again down at the bottom of before you do the rib.
I really like it. Like it.
Yeah, and it's comfortable, and it's. Now that sleeve's long, but I find a lot of times I'm always pulling my sleeves up like that.
Right.
But then if I'm cold, that's why I like my sleeve cuff to be relatively tight, so it doesn't feel like it's falling down over my arm.
I like long sleeve sweaters for that spring and fall. I like to wear those, like the quilted vests that you can get from Old Navy. And I love the way you can just have on just one of your sweaters and a little bit of a quilted vest, right? Mm-hmm. But so then that's where this kind of falls by the wayside, because then my wrists and my hands are a little bit chilly. But if it's an inside sweater that I'm only wearing, that's my go-to. And so some people are saying they really like the sweaters. May Jo says she wishes she could knit a garden gate. May Jo, you totally can knit the garden gate. It was a beautiful pattern, and it was not even. There's only 2 colors up here, and you can totally. And if you're feeling intimidated, the mosaic sweater is even a better way to go, right? If you're nervous about your tensioning for color work, find a mosaic pattern. You can't go wrong with mosaic because you're only ever working with one of those colors at a time. It's perfect.
Yeah. And like this one too, like realistically, if you just wanted to do a couple of the rows down at the bottom, you could do that. You don't have to have all of this.
No.
Right. And this was, like I said, it was mosaic. So it was super easy. So definitely it's a good kind of foray into color work to do mosaic, because I think you get the look that looks similar to stranded, but you don't have to worry about holding two yarns at once. So
that's right. That's right. Oh, Julia's reminding me that I have my
yes,
llama wrist warmers, and they
there
do
you
come up
go.
pretty high. So that would be perfect. You're right. I could, you know, are they called, there's another word for that when you knit long, are they gauntlets? Is that the right word?
Oh, the gloves that go up to here.
Yeah. Like I could do that for these kinds
Yeah,
of sweaters.
yeah.
But, Barb wants to know how we can tell if it's mosaic. Generally in a pattern, if you read the description, it will tell you if it's stranded color work or mosaic. So that's a pretty easy way.
Yeah, all of the shifty patterns are mosaic. Like all of Andrea Mowry's shifty patterns, they're all mosaic. There's quite a lot of shawls that are mosaic. And yeah, and even if it doesn't say right, and if you look in, especially on Ravelry, if you look right under where they've given a brief description of the pattern, there's usually a bunch of tags. And usually if it's mosaic will be in one of those tags. Or you could just search for mosaic knitting. When you go into Ravelry, you can refine your search and you can look for just mosaic if that's what you want to knit. So.
Hi, Gail. Grab a seat. Come on in.
Yes. Yep. Diane says she's working on her first colorwork sweater.
Yay.
Chalet days. Way to go, Diane. I know. When you do it, she says, I don't know why I waited so long.
Exactly. That's the comment that I really like. I don't know why I waited so long. And that's typically everything we do with knitting, is it not? I know I felt that way about brioche. To me, brioche was that unattainable goal. And I'm like, I can't do that. And then I did it. I'm like, what were we so afraid of? It was so much fun.
Well, it's even
you can do it. You can
like now that I use that ladder back technique to catch long floats. And I looked at it before and I thought, oh no, it's way too complicated. And then once I did it, I'm like, that's it?
I know, right?
So
I know. And Alexa's here from Nova Scotia tonight too. Yay. What is the weather like in Nova Scotia right now, Alexa? That's where I grew up. I've mentioned that before. So
you have several contacts named here. Can you please say the name exactly?
Okay, cancel. Alexa, cancel.
Oh, because you said Alexa. I was going to go, Kelly, who's there with you?
She's still talking. Just a second. I'm going to mute this and tell her to be quiet.
Okay. Anyways, we had some information from Australia, Sydney, I think, and they said it's pretty soggy in Sydney right now. So they're having rain. We actually had a very nice day today.
It's supposed to be nicer tomorrow.
I know. So
the snow is melting.
Like, just put a sweater on and go outside. So Michelle's knitting a boreal by Jen Steingass. She said she's inexperienced with top-down yoke. Don't understand why a second lot of short rows after separating the sleeves. I think it just gives, like, I think some of her patterns, she does some short rows before you get to the yoke, and then she does some short rows after the yoke.
Is it on the back or the front, Michelle?
On the back.
Because on the back, okay.
I think anyway that I've done, it's been on the back.
Because I was going to say, if it's on the front, it could be a bit of some short rows to allow for bust. But if it's on the back, also, I'm always amazed by this. Like, I don't understand as a woman, I don't understand why we need more rows on the back than we do on the front. You would think like that the front is going to curve out and shorten the sweater up. And it does indeed, but you actually really need that, that height at the back.
That's right. If you look at your shoulders go up like this, right? So if you want your sweater to come up to the back of your neck, then it's going to be longer in the back.
But we always think of ourselves as having very straight backs. And then if you're like a profile and your back is straight and your front is not, you have to wonder why you need all those short rows back there. But trust the designer. You do. You do.
Yeah.
So Lynn's got the ticket. She says it's time to start looking at the spring and summer knitting. And it is, but
there's so many other things I want to knit in wintry stuff. Anyway. So I did have a finish this week.
Okay. You
So
gotta
I
show it off?
finished yes, I am. Well, I'm not going to hold it up because I've already delivered it, but I'm going to show a picture. So I did finish the sweater that I was working on for Leo and Roxy. So this is the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May Designs. And it's done in Leo and Roxy's silk mohair and their new base that they're going to be bringing out in April, which is 80% non-treated merino. So it's not superwash, and 20% nylon. And it feels, I can't even describe it. Kelly, you felt it. Like
Yes, I did. And let me just say, they almost didn't get their sample sweater. She brought it here Friday night to show on the
It wasn't
podcast.
done then. It wasn't done then, though.
I
still had the sleeves.
I can knit. I could have finished it. I could have just made sure that it didn't make it back into your bag. Julia, it felt like butter.
It didn't feel like butter. It did not feel like butter. It felt like it feels like cashmere. It's like got body and I don't know. Anyways, so I might be doing another sweater in it.
So, might be.
So here's.
I love those.
Oh my God, upside down. So this color is cedar rose, and it's a really rosy color, but it's got some brown and taupey colors in it. I think it's beautiful, and it's the combination of the mohair and this together is just. I could just knit it forever. So I'm excited to get that one started. So anyway, Mary says,
yes,
I
wanted to
Mary,
touch base on that.
Yes, I did look at that. The chain ply. She's talking about the chain ply technique.
I think I can even demonstrate it. I'm
Okay.
going to try.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind the chain ply that Mary is referencing, and she did send us a little video because we didn't know what this was last week. So we learned something new. So the idea is that when you're holding multiple strands in your knitting, so for instance, if you needed 3 plies, there we go. That's 3 plies of a fingering to achieve a certain yarn weight. Okay, that's 3 plies. So the whole chain plying idea, I hope I'm going to be able to do this, is that if you start with a slip knot and you pull it through like this, so then you tighten here, pull the slip knot through. This would be easier if that were on a needle. So I'll do it on a needle, maybe. There we go. Like that. So once you make a long slip, I don't know if that's showing up or not. You make a long slip, and then you just double back on itself like that, and you magically have the 3 plies. So then you would knit until you get to the end of your loop. When your end of your loop comes up like that, you just pop your yarn back through it like this. Sorry, this is harder to do. And you just create another long loop, and then you'll knit those 3. Just keep going. So Mary says it's really fun. I haven't had a chance to try it. So this is what I'll get to this part too. I don't know if this shows up. Hopefully it does. But that's what the loops
looks like.
Show. And is that focused? We had trouble with this. I'm going to pop in. You keep talking about it for a second. I'm going to see if I can.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that it's very similar to how you chain ply it when you're spinning. Like if you're chain plying and you're turning 1 ply into 3. So the difference would be, and this is, I haven't really chain plied anything. I've only just practiced. But when you do it exactly the same way. You attach your yarn, your ply to the spinning wheel. You make that loop and you pull one through. And as it goes in, you grab and you pull another. You're always grabbing and pulling another loop through.
Yeah. So you just keep
and you
going.
get that same thing that you're talking about where I'm just going to see if I can find where it's joined here. You can't even see it. That's a join, but you can't even see it. So the difference between when I've chain plied it and what you're doing is mine are then twisted.
Right.
Where yours are just.
But you could do that when you're knitting it too. When you get to where you're pulling your next loop through you could give it a little twist if you were worried about that happening. Right.
Yeah.
But I can see how it's definitely seamless.
You can't. And once you knit that in, you would
never see it.
No.
So there you go. That's that's what we learned from Mary this week.
Well, and especially if you're like that would be a lot quicker than if you were trying to divide your ball up into threes because you were going to do 3 plies together. This way you can do it all from the one.
And then
ball.
the other reason that, I've already moved it. Did I? Where did I put it? Yeah, I've taken it away. But already, or also, so like for instance, if you have like one of these big, the cones, right? The
Yes,
big cones.
the Holst cones.
And so I was knitting. So my ranunculus, I was using 3 plies. 2 of them were off the big cone. So I had to I caked off an amount that I thought I would use. And I actually came pretty close. But if you wanted to avoid having to do that so that you would only end up with just your cone instead of having a cone and multiple small balls left over, that would be another benefit of doing that. But I think Mary, you're right. You would get into a real rhythm
yeah.
of once you get to that point, just grabbing that next loop, chucking it through, and then knitting to the end of that. And I'm pretty excited about. I'm going to try it too, Mary. For sure, I'm going to try it. So that's exactly what Mary said that she was thinking of for the Holst cones, and that's why she wanted to learn it. So I think I might try it first, like on a hat or something like that, and just see if I can get a rhythm for that, and work on it that way. But so Mary did a sample, and she said her sample was seamless, that she couldn't find where she had pulled through the chain plies at all. So that was a fun new technique to share.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mary,
and I think I would
heard of it before.
I wouldn't mind trying it with some lace weight yarn, and that way you might end up with about like between because I think if you put 2 lace weights, you get a fingering. So maybe 3 of them would give you like a sport weight or something.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to give that a try. So anyway, so this past week, I know we were talking last week. This past weekend, we did the podcast on Friday night, and then Sunday was our anniversary. So it was our 40th anniversary. So we went out for dinner, which was like such a simple thing, like going out for dinner. But we have not been out for dinner. Like Ross and I have not been out for dinner, just the 2 of us, in 2 years. So it was so nice to get dressed up, like just something, a little bit different than your jeans and just, around the house sort of clothes, especially for me, because I'm not going out of the house to work. So it was so nice just to get a little bit dressed up and go out. And so anyway, so I think last week you guys had requested that we bring some wedding photos. So we might have done that.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I'll go.
I haven't even seen these. So I'm excited too.
Okay.
Oh my God. Ross had hair and everything.
He did. That was like, so that's like 40 years ago. And then
your hair is red.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then here's a little close-up one. So.
Oh my, your babies.
I know.
Oh
I know.
Oh.
So
that's so cool. Okay, if you're in there, you can pull mine up. Mine are not. Oh, wow.
Well, yours aren't 40 years ago.
No, mine are 25 years ago.
Okay, so there's
look at those. What is that ringlet hanging down the side of my neck? And look at Mike's hair. Look at the flow he had going.
I think you have another one.
I have another one too. Yeah.
Okay. There.
Look at that. Oh, my hair. Oh.
So.
And I have to point out that we both had braces on at our wedding. It was a big joke. Will they get locked together or not? Yeah. So, wow.
Okay, so when I was doing that and I was looking through all these pictures, I came across a couple of other pictures that I just had to show. So this is, I'm going to pop this little family picture up here, but look at those sweaters.
Oh my goodness. Look at Jacqueline and the bunny.
So this is obviously, this is before we even had the 5th child. So yeah, so Jacqueline's got a bunny sweater on, and Jamie in front here, his one had little bunnies, white bunnies on it. And then that's Daniel with a little Fair Isle one, and Curtis has one with an Argyle that had a Scotty dog across the front. And then I don't know if anybody remembers that Patton's pattern with the yoke that had the flowers around it.
Yes.
And then you can see Ross is not very happy. That's because he doesn't have a hand knit sweater.
I was going to say, he looks overworn. Oh, that one's not hand knit. I was going to say, that looks like a knit sweater.
No. And then because Mark's in there, I had to find a picture of him and pop it in here too. So so that's my youngest. So I used to make the boys these little outfits and make them the little tam that goes on the top. So I'm sure they'll all be like, Mom, why'd you show that? But I couldn't put everybody else's picture and not show Mark.
Oh, that's great.
So
that is great.
He's 30 now.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was fun.
So it's funny when you go through like all the pictures. And I mean, I'm going through so many of when I went through the pictures, I'm looking at pictures of Jacqueline. And seriously, I have to do a double take because I think it's Zoe.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Sarah was working on a sweater this week and she posted a picture of the pattern book. And she said it was a really old pattern book that she'd gotten from her aunt.
I have that pattern book.
I have that pattern book. And I was telling her that I think, do you remember how we had to bring the babies came home from the hospital in sweaters, like a nice little knitted out, and that was called your coming home outfit. And so I'm pretty confident that Kendall's coming home sweater set was in that book. But yeah, Damon's might have been too.
The front cover, Jacqueline had the outfit on the front cover.
The pink one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and that had leggings too, did it not? Did it have a pair of knitted leggings?
I didn't do the leggings.
Okay.
I actually used to do the boys' little pants that just came to their knee like little knickers. So.
Okay, well, that was a fun walk down memory lane.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Someone asked me back here if I had 4 boys. Yeah, 4 boys, 1 girl, and the girl was first. So I don't know. It wasn't like I was going to have a boy and a girl. So. But it's actually amazing having a large family like that now. So it was a lot of work at the time. I think knitting was what kept me sane. But my kids were they didn't always sleep all night, but they were always good at going to bed. Like everybody was when they were younger, everybody was in bed by 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm, so, I mean, and I think when you had that many, you had to just to have a break. So.
There's someone else in here that just celebrated their 45th anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary. It goes by so fast.
Does it really, though?
It does. It does. I'd like 40 years. I just can't.
When you look at those pictures, you really think that was yesterday? You must.
Well, no, I don't. I don't think it was yesterday, but I can't believe it's 40 years.
I know, 40 years. That does seem long. 25. I've got 25, and I think that's long. So anyway. Gail, you're right. It would be fun to have a big family. I think it would be fun to have a big family when the tough years are done. Like, I don't know how you made it through 5 babies. And they're fairly close in age too.
I like the baby stage. Well, I liked all the stages, but
yes.
But I mean, we were lucky. Like we had family around that helped out, and so. But it was fun, and for the most part, like. The kids all got along with each other, and it was like there was not anybody to play with. They're all relatively close in age. Like I think there's 9 years from the first to the 5th. So
well, Pat says that they adopted 4 of their children, so they went from 1 child to 4 in a year. Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's
a lot. Okay. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Kim says 47 years for her. Janet says 48 years. So, and Kim had 4 kids in 9 years. I think like when I had mine, like 5 kids in 9 years is a lot, but my family, my mom and dad had 5 kids in 5 years. I just can't imagine. They moved to Canada. We moved to Canada in 1964. I was 5. My youngest brother was 3 months old, and there were 3 in the middle.
So my mother-in-law, Mike's mom, was from a family of 16 children. 16. And the grandma, teeny tiny little woman like yourself. How do you do that 16 times?
Well, my mom's the 12th. She's the 12th child, the youngest of 12, and my dad was the youngest of 10.
Oh my gosh.
So
16.
I know. I can't imagine being pregnant 16 times. Nope. Anyway,
I don't think a body is built for 16 of them. I'm just going to say that. That's a lot. Is there anybody in here that comes from a family bigger than 16, that's just crazy talk. Although I guess by the time you're having like say 12 and on, hopefully the older ones are taking care of those, right? Like that's.
Yeah. Well, Jacqueline was only 9 when Mark was born. So I'm not, but it wasn't that, at least she could put herself to bed, right? Basically, I don't mean like, she could go out and brush her teeth by herself, but she could get in bed. Like you still read stories and stuff, but it wasn't the physical.
You would have siblings that you never even grew up with. That's the thing.
If you had
right?
16, yeah.
16. So
well, yeah,
Barb
even
says
my
that her mom is one of 17. Okay, so that's bigger. Oh my gosh. Jolynn said her dad had 21 siblings.
Wow.
Is that from the same mother? Or is there multiple marriages in there? Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Crazy.
Well, even my mom with 12 said that like some of her siblings had already moved out of the house by the time she was born.
Oh, exactly.
So.
Oh my goodness. Those are some big families.
Yeah. Well, it's a different world now though. Like I don't know how you could.
I don't think you could afford to feed 21 children today.
No.
Or to put them through school or, put shoes on their feet for heaven's sakes. You know what Nikes cost today? I don't know.
And let me tell you, with my boys, their clothes were pretty worn out by the time they were done with them. It wasn't like there was a whole lot of passing down in the boys. Jacqueline's clothes were still good, but there was no other girl.
Oh my gosh. That is so many. So many.
So Jolynn said 9 with her grandma and 13 with the second wife. Man, how could you even think of that many names? Like I already had trouble when my kids were into something, getting the name right.
Could be repeating. You could use names twice, right? You definitely, because it isn't just one name. You have to do middle names too, right?
Well, I don't have a middle name. And my brother doesn't have my siblings, other than my sister, is the only one that has a middle name. There was only 5. But in Ireland, that was typical. You didn't have a middle name.
You didn't have a middle name?
Mm-mm.
Your middle name's not Margaret? You're an Irish girl and you don't have a Mary or a Margaret
in
your name?
My sister's name is Mary Teresa, but Mary Teresa is her whole first name. Like that's her first name, not, we just call her Mary, but that is her first name.
My goodness.
So
Michelle just reminded us that we currently have 238 people in the KnitChat family right now.
Oh, and we're not even talking about knitting. We should talk about knitting.
Yeah, maybe that was just a gentle nudge. Get back on track, ladies.
Okay. So
KnitChat family for the win though, right? Biggest family.
Right. I don't think, I honestly don't think I could knit all my kids' sweaters if I had 21 of them when they were little.
They might get socks from you.
They certainly wouldn't get the matching breeches and the hats.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Anyway, so back to knitting.
Back to knitting. Yeah, the reason for the podcast.
On this one still. But it's getting there. I'm on the sleeve. This sleeve is really, I've never done a sleeve like this before. It's dark yarn, but can you see that? So you pick up all around, but then you do short rows to do your sleeve cap.
To make a cap for shaping.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I'm still on a circular needle, which is really nice to be doing everything on the circular without having to do magic loop. And it just looks like, it makes a really nice finish.
I like it. It's almost like kind of like a heel, picking up from a heel,
yeah.
right?
And then I did get my buttons. I've only sewn 2 of them on so far. The top and the bottom. But, okay, this is a little tip. When you go to the store to buy buttons, okay, the same buttons come in different sizes.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Sometimes they're hanging on the same hanger.
Well, yes.
So I came home and I sewed these 2 on. And then I went to sew the next ones on. And I thought, these just, something just doesn't seem right. Well, I bought 4 sets of 7/8 inch and 1 set of 1 inch. So I had to go back and get another one. So from now on, when I go and get buttons, I will be checking those sizes on the button things before I take them out to check them out. So when Ross goes, well, no one will know. I thought, I will know. And it would be too big for the buttonhole. But once I'd already done I couldn't go with less buttons because I'd already done the button band.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd already made spaces for 10 buttons. So I had to go back and get 2 more. And luckily they had them. So
I'm
Okay,
still
so
thinking about your new yarn. I want some. April, you said? That's when they have it out?
Yep. So Karen says she did that sleeve cap on the goat herder sweater that she made her husband. Yeah, I really like it. And it's I would still rather do this than knit a shaped sleeve cap and have to sew it in. So, and that is, I didn't say, but that is the Alias sweater by Isabel Kramer.
Isabel Kramer, yes.
Yeah. And that is that Baroque vintage DK.
And Jess is asking if I decided to knit the SSP shawl. Oh, I totally decided to knit it, Jess. I haven't started it yet, and I haven't even picked out yarn for it. But did you you looked at the pattern?
I did look at it. You're right. I think it has to be separate colors. I don't think you could do it with just a variegated.
Right. So I think, yeah, I really want to do that. I'm almost thinking, it's kind of got that, a little bit of that work sock vibe to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it would be pretty to do. Like, I think you could do, like, think about the grays and a cream and maybe this beautiful, gorgeous red. And I'm thinking like a fall shawl. I don't know. Maybe.
And is it mosaic?
It's mosaic.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So Natalie says she did, the sock arm sweater has the same sleeves that are built in like that. And she said it was her first time doing a sleeve cap, because sometimes it's nice to have, instead of having the raglan, just to have something that's a little more fitted.
Mm-hmm.
And the sleeve cap kind of gives a nice shape. I mean, I like drop sleeve too, but I do like the sleeve cap. I just don't like knitting sleeves and sewing them in. But
okay.
So okay. So did you want to see what else I got?
Just 1 second. Let's answer this.
Okay.
Mickey is wondering if anyone has suggestions or tips on seaming reverse stockinette. The first thing my brain went to is, can you flip it and do the, can you do it from, you can't do that.
No.
Okay.
You have to
do a garter mattress stitch.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. So you have to like kind of piece it together from the outside, and you have to kind of like, well, you're almost like putting a knitting thing up it. You know what I mean?
That's right. So I think, Mickey, the best thing to look up is mattress stitch for garter, and that should do the trick for you, I think. But yeah, because I was kind of thinking, if you flipped it inside out, couldn't you just do a mattress stitch on the stockinette side?
Yeah, but if you do it on the stockinette side, I'm not sure. I think you get a bit of a ridge on the other side.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else? Maybe someone else has, because it's been a long time since I've seen something together like that. But has anybody else seen together where you're putting 2 pieces together and they're both reverse stocking stitch? So the reverse stocking stitch is going to be your outside
or
of the
your
sweater
part that's showing. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Michelle says she's embarrassed to ask. Don't ever be embarrassed to ask anything, no. Michelle. How do you resolve the double stitches GSR made on the purl side in the
together
round?
You just do 2, knit them as if they're one together. Stitch. Yes. So the 2 legs, if it's is it purl? Is that what she's saying? Is it purling?
Yep.
Okay, but so you just purl the 2 legs together.
Legs together. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Jolene said you would get a seam on the other side.
Okay.
So that's what I thought, because I remember back years ago doing something like that, and I was not happy with how and I didn't really know about like weaving like that before. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I did not like the result that I got with it. Consequently, I don't think I ever wore that item.
You could take it apart and redo it now.
Well, I couldn't now because I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie says you definitely get a ridge.
She's seaming a whole blanket like that right now. Okay, and Julia is saying, Michelle, Pearl Soho has a good picture tutorial on their website.
Okay. Beth says she's making a reverse stockinette cardigan, and what she did was she made 1 knit stitch at the end of every row for the seaming.
Okay, that's clever too.
So,
Mhm.
but if it's already done, you can't go back and do that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
yeah, but lots of good ideas there. But
yeah.
yeah,
Now you said
I
you
have
had
a
something.
that I bought some more things. I was all about the mohair today.
It's not fair. Now we just have to sit and watch.
I love this color.
That the
This
color that you used in the Hohi Locatelli shawl that you knit as a sample? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
This is called Geek in the Pink.
yes.
I don't know if you can see all
Love
that.
that
Like there's
color.
subtle. It's so
Little
nice.
bits of orange in there, like a
Yeah.
tangerine orange.
So I want to
Beautiful.
actually hold this with just a cream colored fingering. And I think it would just give a really subtle effect.
Very nice.
So that was one color. And then I got this color.
Oh,
This is called PSL. I'm assuming that's pumpkin spice latte. So I want to hold that with the ginger color from Holst.
Holst.
Yep. Okay. And
Oh my goodness.
I got this color.
Oh, I love that one too. Hold
This
that
one's
back
called-
up with the gold colored one. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, so what are you doing next?
I don't know what I'm doing. I think I've got some full moon fiber slub. And it's kind of it's the one that's red sky at night, and it's kind of the burgundies and the reds. And I think that held with that would make a really nice sweater. And Little Red Mittens having their hold me double.
Hold me double.
Yes. And there's a special category for the slub as well. So you never know. I think that might happen. So yeah, I was all about the mohair today, but I might have got something else too.
This is not fun anymore.
It's fun for me.
Yeah.
So this is Sweet Georgia BFL silk.
Wow.
This color is called Sage. And remember, and the podcast I was talking about holding this color with navy, but look at those.
Oh my goodness. It's so pretty.
So I think that might be one of the Jennifer Stein gas, either the one that's got kind of the wheat sheaths around the top. I think that
go
would
on
look
the
really
angle.
pretty. Yeah. I think that would be really pretty with the sage and then this going through the top. Or she's got the one that's called Gold Firm that's got the pattern around the bottom.
The bottom. Yeah.
So I think I can make that work for either one of those. So
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Anyway, I had fun.
Well, speaking of Jennifer Steingass, I could show, since I didn't have it with me on the podcast, but I can show it now. So I'm working away on my, I should have put it on a pony
Kim
cable.
said, this is so not fair, Noelle.
I know, it's not fair. I agree, Kim. That's just spiteful of her, isn't it?
Oh, Kelly, that's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Change topic. Change topic. Isn't that pretty? I'm loving this. This is the Baroque remix. I got this at Little Red Mitten too. It's a Little Red Mitten night. But you don't even have to block this. I am never a person that does not block, but literally you do not have to block this. This, I mean, just look, it's just so perfectly even. There's not, yeah, I don't have to block this. I won't be blocking this. I'm not going to lie. And it feels
to me. I don't think I've worn mine about 4 or 5 times. It still doesn't need wash, so it's not ever been blocked yet. So
it feels just like your favorite cotton sweatshirt, right?
Yeah.
And it's a really simple. So if somebody earlier we were talking about Colorwork sweaters, if you're looking for a first time pattern for Colorwork, I would recommend this one. Yeah. Because it is done in the yarn, as I said, it's the Baroque remix, which is actually, what do they call this? Is it a worsted?
Yeah. It's worsted to Aran.
Okay.
What does it say the number of stitches, Kelly?
I'm just looking. 4¼ stitches to an inch. So 17 stitches.
Okay. So like, I think you can pretty much work it in a worsted to an Aran weight pattern.
So this pattern, which is called Fern and Feather, is actually a worsted weight, I believe.
Okay.
And so I think I went down a needle size just to get the right gauge. But so this is super easy, and you can see, all right, so if we're talking about a first time color work, there's no really long runs in here at all. So no floats to catch. Everything just, I was going to turn it inside out to show you here. It just, and this is like, since it is such a kind of a chunky yarn, I think like this is heavier than I would normally knit with. And because it is a, well, it is classified as a 4, by the way, which is worsted, but the makeup on this is 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, and then there's some silk and linen in there as well. So because of that, there's I just find the tensioning is so easy. It knits itself, honestly. And then like you can see, there's no long runs behind there at all. So this would be a great first time sweater for somebody that wanted to try that, because I always think it's easier to learn color work on a little bit bigger gauge, right? For your tensioning, if it's an early project. So I would recommend this. Super simple to do and really, really pretty. So that's that.
Okay. So Audrey wanted to know, how many mohair balls do you need for a fuzzy sweater? Okay, it depends on, well, it depends on whether you're doing it just in mohair or if you're going to hold the mohair with something. And then whatever you hold the mohair with, it depends on your overall gauge, right? Because if you're holding it with a worsted weight, you're going to need less. If you're holding it with a fingering weight, you're going to need more. The one that I just finished that I showed in the picture, that one took 3 50-gram skeins of mohair. Now, the one that I finished that I showed on the podcast, the Peacock Solo, that took 4 25-gram cakes from Drops. So I would say you're going to use between, I would say between 100 to 150 grams of mohair, of the silk mohair, because the silk mohair, most of them have around 200 to 225 yards or meters per 25 grams. So I think, again, I mean, I can't say for sure because it depends on the size, it depends on your gauge, but I would say usually for me, I can get away with like 2 50-gram skeins. But if I was doing a full all over cardigan, because I want to do the girlfriend cardigan, I know that that would take more. So
yeah. Camille is saying that she made, I think she's referring to the Fern and Feather as a first time sweater. And yes, she confirms it's very easy. It's a beautiful sweater. And Majo, no, I didn't have to catch any floats in that sweater pattern at all. So that was right.
Yeah. And Deborah says Fern and Feather was her first Colorwork sweater, and she thought that that was a good choice. Right. And especially for a first one, you don't want to get something where you've got multiple colors up here. Like it's easier just to stick with the one. For your first one, it's probably a good idea to do something in a little bit heavier weight than a fingering weight. Not that you couldn't do a fingering weight, but you just get through it a little faster. I think it just gives you the opportunity to kind of learn the technique and still see some progress a little bit quicker. If you do it in like a worsted weight and like you said, like that Baroque remix is amazing as far as
it knits itself. It really does. It really does. It really does.
So, and it's also actually a fairly good economical choice for a first sweater too. So you're not spending, you know, in case you don't like doing it or don't like the technique. But, you know, I think you have to just look at color work like it's just, you're still just knitting, right? It's just that you're going to just knit with different colors. And when you do it at first, you don't necessarily have to do it like one yarn in each hand. Like lots of people do it with both yarns in the same hand and just drop one and use the other. But there's lots of amazing tutorials on YouTube that show you either way. like doing it with two hands or doing it just with your yarns held in the same hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
there are just a few short rows. Joe, I think maybe six in the front, 6 in the back. Not too many at all. Not at all. Because I think it ended up, yeah, I want to say maybe 6. Yeah. So not tricky at all. Would Remix make a nice washable blanket? It would. I think you could wash the heck out of that. It would be heavy. It would be
there's also Remix Light.
There is a Remix Light, yes.
So
yeah. It has I don't know, there's just a really nice quality to it, right?
Yeah.
It just feels really, really good. Yes, Michelle sings.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Darcy said that she did stripes. So I think that's an Andrea Mowry pattern. And she did it with mohair held double. So 5 skeins, 5 different colors.
I think
that would be nice
doing that sweater now too. Stripes, I think.
Yes, I think she is. Yeah.
I love Julia's colors that she's picked too. They're beautiful.
There's actually a lot of people that are saying that Fern and Feather was their first Colorwork sweater. So okay, so Sherry wants to know if the Suri alpaca work similar to mohair. Yes, I think a lot of people have done patterns using like the Suri held with another yarn. To me, I think the Suri feels a little bit thicker.
Yes.
And it does have less yardage. Like I think the Suri is more, if you look at a 50-gram skein of it, you get about, I think it's about 280 meters or maybe a little bit more than that, but are 328 yards. It's not as much as what you get with the mohair. But I know that there's lots of people that have done patterns and interchanged the Suri for the mohair because some people can't wear mohair and are okay with the Suri because I think most of the Suris are like a Suri silk blend. So, and they give a really nice look too. It's a little bit different. It looks a little bit fluffier to me than the mohair. But do you have your yarn there?
I do. Somebody was asking the colors. So the green is juniper and this one is almond. And I only used half a ball of the almond. Obviously I don't know what I'm going to finish up with this, but so it does have really good yardage. There's 216 yards. So, I mean, it is like a true worsted yardage, but that pattern, and that's a lot of color work in that yoke. And as I said, it was only half.
Yeah.
So,
and that was the same, the one that I did with the flower yoke, the Mohair, and it took only half a skein for the yoke.
Yeah. And I think you used almond as well, didn't you?
Yep.
And a raspberry, was it?
Strawberry.
Strawberry. It was a berry.
It was one of those fruits.
It was one of those fruits.
One of those fruity yarns. Mary was asking about when we knit with three strands of Holst, have you knitted cables with that? She's hesitated to try. I have not. And I've only knit with Holst double. I've never knit with it triple. And I think your triple was
ranunculus.
2 coast and 1 alpaca.
Yes. Yeah. I think you could do cables. I think you'd have to be careful. There was lots of times when I was knitting that, okay. So when I'm knitting in just the body, that's usually like what I'll be doing at night when, if I'm watching TV, cause I don't know if like I can knit stockinette and not really have to look at the project at all. But I did have to be a little bit more careful when I was using 3 strands because I would look down every so often and realize I had lost one somewhere and I had to go back a few stitches. So I think you could do cables, but I think, okay, the cable question would also depend if you do cables using a cable needle.
No, I was going to say that.
Yeah, because I rarely use a cable needle, rarely.
But if you had 3 strands just to keep them straight, you might want to be using a cable needle.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So it's, again, Mary, it's just trial and error and what works for you. Yeah.
Because I know when I did Rachel's Winter's Beach and I did it in the Patagonia, I was originally going to do it in the hides held double. And that's what put me off was the cables. And I thought, I didn't try it, so I can't say that it would have been hard, but I thought, I'm like you, I don't use a cable needle. And I thought, it's not going to go as quickly as I want. So I just thought I'll save the tides for something else, and I'll do it in the single sticky yarn that I know I'll be able to handle the cables without the cable needle. So
okay. And Darcy's asking if you always knit with the Holst double, and no. I know you've knit a couple of sweaters with it single. In fact, the Chalice Fine sweater that you just finished was single, wasn't it?
Yep. And I did the Winterfell, which is a sweater by Skeindare. I did it single. And then I have done all over Colorwork sweater with it single, but then you're basically getting a double fabric when the Colorwork is all over. Right. But it's well, you felt the Chalice Fine. Once you block that in a single, it feels amazing. And the yarn really blooms and fills in. So you get actually a relatively warm sweater, but a really light sweater. So, Valerie says she's holding it single right now. So, and don't be, when you first start working with the Holst, especially the super soft, like don't be put off, because that's not what it's going to feel like after you've blocked it.
It's not soft at all.
No, it's not. It's not, but it feels fine after you've blocked it.
I don't even know why they call it super soft. It's not soft. But the ranunculus that I just finished, I'm not going to lie, that's the softest thing
ever. But that's
ever.
Coast. Coast is soft.
It's Coast and Titicaca, yes. But oh my goodness.
Okay, so Mary said when I knit Holst single, I use a 3 millimeter, Mary, when I hold it single. But if I'm doing all over color work with it, I use a 3.25.
Yes.
But single, I use a 3. I just like the look of the fabric better with the 3.
And that is independent for every knitter too, because
that's right.
Noelle definitely knits tighter than I do. So you have to see what works best for you, what your fabric needle choice is.
Yeah. And it's also, it depends on the fabric that you like, because you and I like our socks slightly different.
Yes.
So, and that was one thing about socks I wanted to go back and say, because Barb had mentioned after the podcast saying that she does actually take more than 70 grams to do a pair of women's socks. Okay. So I should preface that. Okay. When I'm talking about, I'll do a pair of socks, most of all of the like my family that I knit for, I'm doing a 64 stitch sock. I'm never doing bigger than a 64 stitch sock for the women. For the guys, I do a 72 stitch sock. So for the girls, and they do have up to, like Jacqueline wears a size 10. I still don't think I've ever used more than 70 grams of yarn, but then it also depends on the yarn you're using, because if you're using Croy is a heavier yarn and it's got less yardage. So Croy's only got like 150 or 155 yards in a 50 gram ball. Whereas a lot of fingering weight sock yarns have 400. Total,
but it also has to do with how much contrast you're adding in, because typically, like we do coordinating heels and toes. And then if you're thinking you're going to be a little shy on yarn, you could always do a different color for the cuff too, just to stretch out that yarn a little bit. Yeah,
but I guess because I'm looking at like some of the, like the Regia and that have pretty good yardage in them. Like I would do a whole woman's sock in that, and I wouldn't use more than 70 grams.
No, in fact, if I did like a woman's sock in a Regia, I would have enough left over to do a shorty pair too.
Yeah. So again, it all depends on the size you're doing. It all depends on the stitches you're doing. It all depends how long you like your leg.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Because, some people like their leg to go partway up their calf. Some people, so it all depends on like what you consider like a regular sock length. So.
Just wanted to go back to a comment. I think Mary Thor, she said that she's finishing her first Colorwork sweater. She didn't know what she was doing at the beginning. None of us did, Mary. That's okay. Right. And now she does. So that's perfect. And she says that she keeps saying she'll live with her mistakes, but the yoke is very bunchy. Now, my floats pattern, and she's asking whether she should rip it out or not. And somebody already did reply, and they said, you know what, if you think you will wear it and love it, leave it. But if not, you probably need to take that out if you think that you're not going to wear it. Because if it's a top-down sweater, like for me, the yoke is the most fun part anyway. So would you really struggle to knit it again if you had to end up with a product that you're really, really happy with? I guess that's
okay. One question is, have you blocked it yet?
Well, that's another good.
If you haven't blocked it yet, yeah, I would block it first before you make any decisions about anything, because it's amazing what you can do with blocking.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then if you think you'll wear it, keep it. But if, yeah, I mean, there's no point in keeping something if you're not going to wear it. You might as well rip it out and make it into something that you will wear.
That's right. Because you've still, if you're only at the yoke, you've still got, you've got a lot of sweater knitting to go, right?
Yeah. But you also can block out the yoke without having to finish the sweater, right? You can put your yoke on a cord or on a piece of yarn, and you can still block it out and then put it back on your needles if it's fine to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to wait till you're totally finished in order to block it.
Mm-hmm. That's better. I kept wondering, why am I getting choked out by my headset? I put my knitting bag on top of it. Yeah. It was pulling me down. So yeah, that's what you can do.
Yeah. So Yarn Granty was saying that she was making almost argyle socks with croy and had to go into a third skein. Yeah, because the croy does not have as much yardage as, but oftentimes you can get away with fewer stitches and a bigger needle size when you're using the croy. So
West Side Story is asking, where do we buy pony cord? Aside from possums,
we buy it at Michael's.
Pony cord is the third most topic on the chat, I think.
Pony cord and possums.
Yes. We buy it at Michael's, and so I don't know where you are from, but we are in Canada, and I know that Michael's is in the US as well. And it's called pony bead lacing. Has anybody checked to see if it's on Amazon too?
I think I looked on Amazon, but for us, it was actually cheaper to buy it at Michael's than to buy it on Amazon.
Okay.
But I guess it all depends whether you've got an Amazon close by. So,
and
Suri says, and corks.
And corks.
Yeah. And corks. And then last week, you guys got me all into Wordle. And now I have to do it every morning.
And I have to do it every night before I go to sleep.
So
I know I've got my coworkers are wordling, and the other night I couldn't sleep. I was wide awake, couldn't sleep. So then I got into Nerdle, which is an equation. And from there I went to Quartle, which is 4 words in 9 tries. And now I'm like, I see everything through 5-letter words now. Like I'm constantly Kelly, all day long rolling 5-letter words around in my head.
Yesterday morning, I had this brainstorm and I thought we need to do knitting Wordle. So I've already got a list this long of knitting words that are 5 letters. So somehow or other, we got to figure that to get it into the.
Okay, we'll have to figure out a way to do this. Yes.
But I'm sitting there and I'm typing all these words and I'm like, Noelle, you're supposed to be knitting. And then I'm waiting when I go to see my mom. My mom's in a retirement home, and when I go to see her, I have to go get a COVID test done, and then I have to sit in the car till I get the result. So I'm in the car and I've got my knitting. No, I'm typing and I'm thinking, I got to put those words into my phone because I'll forget them by the time I get home.
Sometimes I'll be thinking throughout the day. I'll come up with a word and I'm like, oh, that's a really good first word. I got to remember that tonight.
Anyways.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, so I do think we should get a knitting Wordle out there.
Michelle says that she is so inspired by all of the people here in the KnitChat family that to keep trying new techniques. And she said that she hadn't realized that she felt that her knitting experience was limited. It's not limited, Michelle. Trust me. There are just things out there that you couldn't possibly know, like the simplest little techniques. And sometimes they're just mind blowing. So just stick with it. And we are never too old to learn new things. Absolutely. And I find new things all the time. Like, was it just last year? I learned the Finchley graft. How have I been making socks for this many years? And I didn't know how to Finchley. And now, heck, what's the Kitchener? I'm not using that anymore.
Well, I do still use it, but not on socks.
No, not on socks anymore. No, I had to use it on the ends of my Christopher Bunny hands. But seriously, yeah, I'm all about the
or
now.
Like I can still remember, like it was like when I learned about helix knitting.
I know, right?
It's like I'm going to Ross, this is life changing, and he's like, Noelle, stop.
But it is. Pauline says that she gets ads. I don't get ads.
I just do mine off that. Yeah, I don't
The
get
New
ads
York
either.
Times. Yeah, it's the New
Yeah.
York Times puzzle. So you just have one a day.
Yep.
But on Wordle, now here's the trick about Wordle.
I'm not getting into another one. I'm doing knitting Wordle.
No, I'm totally into Wordle because I like the 4-word challenge. But they have a practice session, and you can keep hitting practice and get new puzzles and new puzzles and new puzzles and new puzzles. So when I should be sleeping, I'm still Wordling. Not gonna lie.
Well, I think
Mike
that
is
there
snoring beside me. I'm just Wordling in bed.
Yeah, I think there is. Like, if you go on, I think there is an app for Wordle that's not the New York Times thing, because you can keep playing it, and it might have ads on it. So, yeah, that's what Carlene said. If you use the Wordle app, you get ads.
Okay.
So, and then Bonnie says she plays Knuckle, a Canadian version of Wordle. The words are more Canadian.
Oh.
So
I'll have to look that one up. I'll have to look that one up.
I'm not looking up anymore. I'm going to knit.
I know, but I can't do that in bed. I'm supposed to be sleeping then. So,
Well, sleeping's not playing Wordle.
well, I know, but I don't know. I have a hard time. I have that, my yoga instructor always called it monkey brain, when your brain is just like
Oh, I know.
every which. So it's just a way to calm my monkey brain and like slow it down and try to convince it that it's ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So
I have no problem going to sleep. It's the staying asleep. So
lately I do. I didn't used to.
okay, Pauline says, where does she go to not get ads?
Google. So
Yes,
on Google, just type in Wordle.
Mhm.
And you'll see one that comes up that there'll be something about Wordle and then New York Times. You just click on that. And then as soon as you solve it, it will say, well, in my case, because it gets solved like shortly after midnight every night, it says you have 23 hours,
Yeah, so the next
49
one.
minutes to your
Yeah.
next puzzle, because there's only one a day and everybody in the world has the same one. So,
Okay, so Valerie wants us to explain how to order from Holst, or how we order from Holst. Okay, I don't know what the shipping rates are to all countries. Like,
No.
we just know what it is to Canada. But if we're ordering directly from Holst, what we usually do is fill up our cart with as much as we can till it gets to the next level of shipping charges,
and then subtract from the cart.
and then subtract till we get back down. Yep.
Yeah. But
Because if I'm going to pay shipping, I'm going to get as much as I can.
Yeah, typically in Canada, I can get like 2 cones and maybe 5 or 6 of the cakes.
You can get
And I can get that for about $21 shipping.
okay.
That's in Canada. Okay.
Yep.
So that's that. But it's do you know what the name of the site is? Like, we go to Holst Garn. Right?
We just type in Holst Garn, and I think it's in Denmark. So I think the actual site has like .dk or something in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, if you just type in Holst Garn yarn, it should come up for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
there are actually, I don't know about in the States, but there are places in Canada that do sell it. Like Little Red Mitten carries the
cones.
Super Soft.
Yes.
Yes, but they don't have Tides or Coast. I think they have some Coast like baby blanket sets, but they don't have like Coast cones and small balls. I don't know. They might be, if they're getting it or not in the future, but right at the moment they don't have it. And I do believe some of the, if you're out west, I do believe some of the stores out west have, I think West Coast has Coast Tides and
yes,
Super Soft. Do they have? I know there's another one called Grelong, and Grelong is their one that's wool and cashmere.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they have the Titicaca or not. So,
okay.
Yeah, so far you're right, Jose. And so far in Canada, I have not gotten hit with Holst duty on Holst, but that's as much as we order just that first shipping.
That
Now,
first shipping.
one of my friends did combine a couple of their orders together because they wanted to save on shipping, and they did get hit with duty. So I think you still got to be careful about the amount that you're ordering.
Yeah.
How many hours do I knit on average? If I'm
Do
sitting,
tell.
I'm knitting. If I'm sitting, I'm knitting. At least every morning, probably at least from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock. But other than, taking time to go get my coffee and a next coffee, and then I probably get another couple of hours sometime or other in the day.
Okay, and this just in from Jolynn for Little Red Mitten. They're going to do a pre-order shortly for Coast, Tides, and Super Soft.
Okay,
so
good to know.
There'll be a bigger supply there for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should
talk about our KALs.
I was just going to say, we're already at an hour and 10 minutes.
And I haven't knit a stitch.
I forgot to move my stitch marker tonight, so I don't know how far I got, but this is from last week. So I've got about 2.5 inches from last week. So maybe 1.25 inches tonight. I think I got a few stitches.
Okay, so at the moment we have 2 KALs going on. So the first one is our sock KAL, which is going on all year long. The sock KAL, all you have to do is finish an adult pair of socks and put them into the thread on Ravelry. There's a finished object thread and a chatter thread. So our goal is to get to 2,022 pairs of socks for 2022. So again, an adult pair of socks doesn't matter when you started them, just when you finish them, put them in the finished object thread. If you do kids socks, 3 pairs of kids socks or baby socks. So that one's going on all year. We draw prizes at the end of every month. And at the end of every month, we do both a pattern prize that's donated by Natalie of Remembrances Pottery, and we do a yarn prize. And then we have a little bit bigger prize at the end of the year. And doesn't matter when you get your socks in there, when we draw at the end of a month, we go right back to the beginning of the year. So the more pairs you have in there, the more chances you have to win. Then the other KAL that we have going on is our Smash That Stash.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Smash That Stash. I wasn't ready. I was daydreaming.
Okay, so that one started on February 1st, and it goes till, I should take the other one off the bottom, and it goes until March 31st. So for that one, we want you to go into your stash, and any yarn that you've had previous to December 31st, 2021, you can use. And the only other requirement is that you use at least 50 grams of yarn and no whips.
Right.
So get in there and get that gorgeous yarn out that you bought because you loved it. Now you should knit it.
Smash That Stash.
Smash That Stash. So this is a Smash That Stash project.
So is this.
So what else did I do lately that was a Smash That Stash? Oh, my one sweater was my Peacock Solo was a Smash That Stash because I had both the mohair and the tides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know, but now that I bought all this mohair, I don't know. But I need to go in there and use my stash.
I know. I've got a lot going on here. I've got a lot. I'm not going to lie. There was something else that I wanted to put in here too. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. I wanted to put in our Gmail address too. So if there's ever something that you want us to cover in KnitChat, feel free. You can either find us on Instagram, which is where we spend. It's probably where I put in the most of my time is on Instagram. And then I check Ravelry regularly, but not daily, certainly. So Instagram is probably the quickest way to reach out to me. You can send a DM if you're on Instagram, or send us something to Gmail if there's something that you want us to cover, or something that you just want to let us know about, or something that's going on that you think would be great to share with the rest of the knit chatters in here. This would be the place to do it.
Okay, so Susan says she needs someone to help her with the muscle brooch, you can't get the start right. I just put a link to somebody that showed the pinhole that was a Very Pink's knits tutorial. So I'll put that underneath this video. And so you can go in and take a look at it and see if that helps. And a lot of people are saying here that they have so much yarn that the smasher stash should go on longer. Well, we might bring it back again later on.
We're all so bad. But you know what? Okay. There are worse things that we could be spending our money on. And for 2 years, I figure I haven't gone on vacations. We haven't been able to go anywhere. So I may have bought a little more in the last 2 years than I would normally buy, but that's okay. I'm not hurting anybody. And in fact, we're probably helping some people because some of the retailers had to make some pretty quick movements to get their stores online and, the indie dyers without having festivals to show their things at, they were counting on us to keep them going. Sarah has just put up the full moon fibers. I saw that today too. Sarah is having a 20% off sale until midnight tomorrow. It's their second birthday sale.
Okay.
I still have dry winter lips. Sorry.
Just checking through. Okay. Well, again, I think that we may bring that back again later on. Oh yeah, here's what I want to go back to. Jan was saying that she's spinning for a sea glass tea, and somebody asked about spinning for the smasher stash, and that's fine. If you spin 50 grams of yarn, that's fine. Just put that in there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Julia is after Sarah now for letting us know about the sale, but
okay. B was saying, maybe I got there is a Grelong yarn, but maybe that's not the one that's got the cashmere.
I think it's
Noble.
Noble.
The Noble might be the one that has
Yes.
the cashmere. It's 95% merino, 5% cashmere. I'll have to check the other one and see what it is, because I haven't tried. The only ones that I've actually worked with are Coast, Tides, and Super Soft. I haven't even tried my Titicaca yet. I should use that because that would be a smasher stash.
Yep. So I should say thank you to everybody that's already watched our new episode of the podcast. It was doing pretty well after the first couple of days. And if you haven't liked the channel yet, and you do like the channel, but you haven't formally liked the channel, it'd be great if you like the channel. It helps the channel grow. And the more the channel grows, the more people that we can pull into this fantastic knit community that we've got going on. And the KnitChat Café has no boundaries. We can bring as many people in here as we like. Right. So that's fantastic. Right. That's the best thing.
No cover charge.
No cover charge. No, there's no coat check.
No.
Yeah, and the drinks are pretty cheap too. They're anything that you want. And you don't have to worry. You can have a glass of wine if you like, because you have nowhere to drive after we're finished visiting. That's right. You
don't have to worry about the weather unless it affects your internet.
Well, yeah, I have to worry about the weather. Anyway, it's been fantastic hanging out with all of you again tonight.
Yes,
truly is the highlight of our week. It's so much fun to be in here and catch up with everybody. And you are truly our friends, and we do think of you as family. And I realize that you probably know a little bit more about us than we know about you, but I do speak about you regularly. I'll say, oh, you like, oh, Sarah from KnitChat or blah, blah, blah. Just like you're all real people, and you are all real people, but you're just to let you know that you are all very real to us too.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll have to get another little pajama party going in July where we can do the little photo feature again. So we can
Absolutely, we will.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So yeah, and someone mentioned in here, Mary said, oh yeah, and you don't have to wear masks in the KnitChat Cafe.
That's right. Yeah, it's COVID-free zone. Yeah.
So
okay, well take good care.
Thank you everybody for joining us, and we hope you all have a good week. Okay, happy knitting.
Happy knitting.
I can't find the right thing.
We are leaving, really.
We are leaving. We are, but we're just looking for the.
Noelle has lost her button. Well, this is just the awkward goodbye now.
I found it.